a church, a synagogue, and a mosque. Attacks inspired by white supremacist ideology fostered on social media.
In the age of instant communication with worldwide reach, white nationalist groups target communities of color and religious minorities through social media platforms.
Since 2007, right-wing extremist attacks have taken place across the nation. But the problem is global, and the live stream of the New Zealand shooting posed a massive challenge.
We actually prevented 1.2 million and were able to find 300,000 additional uploads of that video within the first 24 hours and had a very forceful and swift response.
The decision to remove videos of mass shootings is clear-cut. Policing the free speech of more than 2 billion people is far more complex.
Hate speech, because it often relies on spoken rather than visual cues, is sometimes harder to detect than some forms of branded terrorist propaganda. It's intensely context-specific, and it can be contentious, as there is often disagreement on what could be considered political speech. On the opposite end, over-aggressive enforcement can also inadvertently silence voices that are using the platform to make themselves heard on these important issues.
Social media companies are protected by law from liability for content posted on their platforms.
This is a piece of legislation that really allows the internet as we understand it to exist. And fiddling with it on the edges could, I think, have really bad implications for customers who enjoy using these services. Because what will happen is if they amend legislation to actually make Facebook, Twitter, YouTube liable for extremist content, say, you run the risk of overreaction, and Facebook and Twitter will be they'll shut down tons and tons and tons of channels and content.
White supremacy has never been allowed on Facebook, but recently the company expanded the scope of the ban, redirecting users to a nonprofit that helps people leave hate groups.
We extended that policy to include a ban on all praise, support, and representation of white nationalism and white separatism. We see these ideologies as being inextricably linked to supremacy with intents of violence more generally.
President Trump's rhetoric about immigrants and his reaction in the aftermath of the deadly 2017 Charlottesville rally encourages hate speech, say Democrats. The president denies this, and the danger of white supremacy was acknowledged just last week by the nation's top law enforcement official.
We assess that it's a persistent, pervasive threat.
This just illustrates part of the problem.
A problem so immediate that racist content flooding the YouTube live stream of the hearing shut the comments section down. Catherine Gibson, VOA News, Capitol Hill.
Quick meeting this hearing.